there's a kind of stereotype in spiritual journey where you go to a guru and the guru has something, and by metaphorically bowing down to him, sometimes physically too, and his knowledge and his achievement, that's the wrong word, but somehow it's often seen like that, that what he has can be transmitted to you. One danger of that is that the personality can be very comfortable in that role. Don't get me wrong, I think there is a role to be a devotee in the purest sense of the word, because we're all devotees of life, of life beyond personality in a way. We're all students of that. So I'm not against that, per se, but being a devotee. But there are dangers, as I say. And the danger is the personality can use the role of being a disciple or a follower or whatever word you want to use to become safe in that role. And it may sound strange because, well, why is it safe? Because you're kind of surrendering, and that's the idea. But it's a very odd thing that there's a set of rules, there's guidelines, there's beliefs, and this thing can become a prison, and the personality can be safe in the role of following. And the idea of that, as I said earlier, is you bow down to this person and whatever they've supposed to have attained and this achievement, and through that you gain what they have apparently gained. So what I want to say about that is that the idea that you can find this by doing that, just by doing that, is from this point of view absurd. And I think you will have some insight into what I mean by that, because you know what it's taken you, the willingness, the readiness, the willingness to feel, everything that has taken you to learn however far or whatever you've learned through this. I mean, you know that it's a confrontation. It's not all bliss. There's a confrontation with your personality. And that means going beyond fears, feeling things. So the idea that you can just kind of supplicate yourself to someone and you get the free pass and suddenly you're in the club and you've got this thing called enlightenment is absolutely absurd, because it doesn't happen like that. It happens through your engagement and your inquiry with what this is. And the inquiry is an ongoing thing that gradually kind of dissolves the holding on of the personality. From this point of view, and I would imagine you would know exactly what I mean, the idea that you can get it so cheaply without anything from your side, really, apart from, I give up, I'll be a follower, is the absurd bit. It just doesn't work like that. And the further you go on, the more you know that, the more you know what you get is in total relationship to how far you're willing to bow down to what you got to look at, how far you're willing to look, your readiness, your willingness, all of that. It's all, in a way, it all comes back to you, which is a beautiful thing. And it feels that's the right way it should be. You get out what you put in a way. And of course, on an absolute level, you're not putting it in, life's putting it in, life's just happening through you in the form of you inquiring. But on the relative level, that's how it looks. It's like on a relative level, if you just become a disciple and you think the guru is going to do it all for you, you're not going to get much back other than a trap and a feeling of perhaps a pretense of attaining something, but actually in the end you'll find I'm in a trap, or I'm in a cult, or I'm not moving, I'm not growing, because you're avoiding where the action is.
For me, in a broader sense, it's like religion. Like, I was brought up as a Catholic, and for me, I feel like it was drilled into me that Jesus is our savior and God, and if you let go according to the 12 commandments, then you're safe. If you're a Catholic, you're safe.
Yeah. Exactly, parallel. You're absolutely right. So there's the same thing that goes on with, more perhaps, what's the word, straight people with religion could go on with the freaks who get into spirituality. The same thing can replicate itself. I just got to believe in Jesus and he'll do it all for me. I mean, it's absurd. It's an insult to Jesus.
Well, I've often thought that what people probably get out of their strong belief in Jesus is there's a sense that Jesus loves you unconditionally.
Mm-hmm.
And so my assumption is that people, because they can't find that love of themselves from themselves or from anybody out here in the real world, they imagine this unconditionally loving being who loves them unconditionally. I've always assumed that's what they get out of it. So I don't know, is there any value in that, you think, or is there something dangerous in that?
In that bit of it, no, because that bit of it is like just bowing down to the absolute in a way, isn't it? So in that bit of it, no. It's the bit that says just believe in that and you will be saved in the religious terms. That's the bit, because there's a disowning of your own part in this, and you become, it's odd because the man said become like children, and of course in one context that's beautiful, that's the natural state, but in another context, it's that it could mean blindly following, being stupid, not questioning, not finding out for yourself. That's the point. But I think at its heart, religion is a representation of a natural yearning in us for the absolute, but the form of it and the down the sort of, once it becomes manifest in the relative world with personalities and people, and then it loses that and it becomes a lie, really.
I think religion also gives us like this idea of like, if you believe, then you're saved. Saved.
And here it's like, if you believe, you're lost. It's the opposite.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah. As soon as you kind of just believe, take something on as a belief, you've lost your connection to this, because you've gone into that negative version of being childlike, being unquestioning. But again, we're trying to see things from all angles. There is that positive side to religion in that I do think it is an expression of a very human expression of a yearning for a connection to the divine and to unconditional love. So I kind of get that, and here's this representation of it. Yeah.
Where it changes is when the leader ego takes over. I think that's when a cult becomes a cult.
Yeah, but the great irony, Rani, is that person who's teaching that stuff, or the cult leader, is meant to be beyond that. That's why they're meant to be there and in that role. So that's the great irony. As soon as that stuff creeps in, they're proving that they don't know. They're not coming from what this is. They're not coming from beyond personality, or however they would define the ego. So it's weird, because it's when those things appear that contradict, the allegations and the stories you hear of what's going on and the abuses and all that, when that first heard, that should be like, oh, I thought they knew what this was, but they don't. But the really odd thing in this spiritual thing is that you can have very deep understandings, openings, experiences of it that are real and pure. And you can have that at the same time as this in the shadows, all sorts of things, normal things, that can occur in psychology in the relative level. And they can coexist, and you can be in this one and teach from this one and appear very saintly or all sorts of things. And this thing is still there. Now, the difference with us is that we don't look away from any, in choiceless awareness, you don't look away from this and you don't look away from that. And that's the vital difference. So if there's a teacher and he's kind of denying or repressing or bypassing or looking away from some side of his shadow, which we're not even saying is bad or anything, we're just saying, see what is, that's there, something's there. Then oh, well, they don't know life beyond personality then, because they're exhibiting personality traits. And not that you can't even have, it's not that they can't still be there, but if you are identified with them, then you're not beyond personality, are you? That's a kind of crucial point, because it's still, things can still be there. It's not what is seen, it's the seeing, the act of seeing. That's what I'm trying to say. So you could have this come up. Okay, that's there. You see what is. You see life as it is. But it's the willingness and the readiness and the ability to see it for what it is, and not go down that route of repressing it and not pretending you're beyond that or that's not there. So on.
Would you say it's a feature of the shift, as you would define, like the ability of like seeing and not getting identified with it? So like most of the teachers that we see around would have had like awakenings and deep understandings and really deep way of explaining maybe, but not really had their disidentification.
Yeah, I think I would. I think that's what I mean by the shift. You can have, I wouldn't really, awakening to me seems like a very strong word, and it almost suggests the shift to me. Awakening is like some line you cross, where for me that's the shift. But if you say they've had openings, yeah. But the real opening of the shift, which doesn't go away, is the one that doesn't deny, doesn't look away at anything. I mean, I'm not saying there can't be things you haven't seen yet, but whatever, I've said this before, whatever presents itself, you will see it. If you're ready to see it, you're not going to be fighting it. Yeah. But yeah, I would say that's the difference. That's like the sort of hallmark of the shift. It's not that you've had the religious or spiritual experience or an opening. I mean, thousands of people have had that, and that's great. But the hallmark is someone who's like authentic right across the board. Yeah, about their lives, who they are, and they're not. That's the bit that stops you getting pulled in and identified again. Like, I suppose, I could get into this role and I could get identified with it. And that would give perhaps certain benefits to personality. So that's possible. That's what could be happening here, could have happened here. But because of what I call the shift, that's what I'm saying hasn't happened. And if that wasn't the case, I shouldn't even be talking, because that's what we're talking. There is something called the shift, where you can't be pulled back into identification with that because, oh, people look up to me or something. You're not interested in that. I mean, I'm saying that, and then I'm again thinking, could you be interested in that? I mean, not because you need anything like that. You know, you could enjoy it maybe because you enjoy. I mean, for me, look, I enjoy sharing what matters, and I enjoy connecting with you, and I enjoy your honesty and your involvement and your unfolding. You know, that's what I get out of this, and it's something that I seem to be able to talk about in an okay way. So that's me being me fully in one area. So that's what it is for me. You know, I'm offering my support and my sharing of this, which is my joy, right? But I'm not offering just believe what I write in those books and you'll be saved, because obviously you all know, well, that's not how this works. And part of that is a confrontation with your personality, and part of that is the full gamut of life's experience, which part of that is painful. And the other side of it, as we talked about last week, is ecstatic almost, you know, the beauty of life, the terror and the wonder of being a man, as Castaneda put it.
And